All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to This Week on Theta Thursday. We have returned after a short break. I had things to do last week, so that's why we weren't here.
I was
But
fucking, you know what I was doing, Mifune? I was fucking crossing the continental United States in a fucking balloon, buddy. It was great.
whoa, really?
Yeah.
Did you get shot down by an F-22?
I don't know what happened. It was like,
It went dark
it
real
was,
quick.
oh, it was crazy, man. It was a crazy week. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
get shot down by an F-22 just casually.
Oh, Bleeding Edge gave us a follow. Thanks, brother or
Appreciate
sister.
it, man.
Very fucking appreciated. Today is February 9th, 2023. It's a fucking Thursday. Is this our first show of the new year?
No,
No, this is like our third. I just
fourth
drooled.
or
Third
fifth.
show or some shit of the fucking new year, right? I'm Greg. Don's over. Where the fuck are you, Don? There? Did I
Yeah.
point the right way?
No,
There.
other
To
direction.
Don's
your
there,
left. Your left.
And then
your
Mifune
left.
is over there.
No,
Mifune,
other
listen.
way, dumbass.
All right, we got big news this week.
You have news?
Yeah. I got lots of news. But Mifune was telling me before the show that he's gonna get one of those fucking broccoli haircuts.
Whoa.
Oh, you're gonna like throw it on the top, like straight up sides, and then like sleek side.
There's $100 Canadian in it for you if you do, Mifune.
Well,
$100
how is he
Canadian
gonna
dollars
spend
for what?
Canadian money?
Yeah, like, what am I gonna
You can
spend?
come to Canada. You ever been to Canada, Mifune?
No, I have not been to
Got it.
Canada.
So, Mifune, Canada is just a little bit weird. U.S.
I mean, you're
Okay.
not wrong. They kind of are.
You know what else I've been doing this week? I've been streaming on twitch.tv/Hazitude. Yeah, that's right. Twitch.tv/Hazitude. It's the your variety channel for
No, you
all
can just post
things
it in the
fucking
chat, right?
awesome. No, I don't. I'm old school, man. Like people write stuff down. They're like, "Oh, just a second. Let me rewind the videotape and write that down here on this bar napkin." Don, what have you been doing this week?
What I've been doing this week? Mostly, I drank an entire bottle of wine yesterday, which was
Jesus
fun.
Christ, Don.
Why? It took me 4 hours to get through it, so no, like 5. So I wasn't chugging it over here, but
Was it good wine or
time.
was it just like fucking
it's
ripple?
nice cheap white Zinfandel. Just the normal like $8 bottle of wine. I'm not a wine
Huh?
snob. And work.
Now you were telling me there on the weekend that you had you maybe met a nice older gentleman at a game night.
No.
You went
No,
to
I
a
got
game
dragged.
night and there was like older gentlemen
Shut
there
up,
that
Greg.
were.
Let me tell it
Yeah,
instead
well,
of
I
you
just
spouting nonsense.
I'm not. It's not
I went
nonsense.
to it. I went to a board game night with my mom, and they played like a party game mostly. And I'm sitting there going, God, I would rather. I was hoping that maybe we could play like Ticket to Ride or Catan or anything. But they're like, we're gonna play these party games that require no thought or strategy. I'm like, okay, great. Bored. So
Sonrir, thanks for 14 months there, brother.
What's up,
It's
buddy?
good to see you watching
it's definitely
Theta
a board
Thursday.
game night.
Speaking of
We got lots
Sonrir,
of shit going on
Eve
this week.
Eve has actually given us some news on a Thursday.
Oh, dude, we had way too much to go through before we got to the Eve news.
No.
There is spicy Eve news, and it has something to do with the new nickname for my wiener, which I'm calling it a stellar transmutator.
What?
I'm calling my wiener the stellar transmutator.
Doesn't that mean it needs to be used in some way?
Don, that's not very nice.
No.
Suck it,
We do
Not
have
nice
a lot
at
of
all.
Eve news this week.
We
But
do.
I do have to get through a couple of things first.
Do we have to, or do you want to?
No, we have to. Next week, we'll go over this again later. But next week we have none other than Ben Rush, the CEO of Sorry in Advance. He's going to come on and talk about Eve Montreal, which is which is like a huge event up here in Canada. It's in Montreal, which is like a province over from I. But we had a long way kind of deal, 6 hours or something. But hey, if you have a chance to make that, we'll learn all about it. We do have Eve news, yeah. Sonra, or do you have any? Oh, wait a second, my dog's eating a box. Hang on, let me get my puppy. You guys can talk about something.
All right,
Do we
so
really need to talk about Eve stuff?
yes, we do.
Could just talk about how Cadbury makes delicious chocolate. Might I recommend the caramel ones? They're very good.
Nah. So, we do have some very important Eve news to get to today.
Not even close to that yet. Hang on for a second.
Greg, people come here to watch Eve things. All right.
But I've got a movie review. This movie called Avatar: Way of the Water, right? Which features a microdosing James Cameron, whale, adrenochrome, and flying alligators. And I'm not fucking making any of that shit up. All of that is true. James Cameron microdosing the fuck out of himself. There's shit going on. I don't understand what's happening on the fucking screen. All sorts of flashy graphics and animations. And what do they call that? CGI? What does that stand for? What does CGI stand for? Computer generated information?
Images.
What images? Is it images? Yeah, so and then the guys are like, we'll just fucking extract this whale adrenochrome out of these fucking whales. And the whales are like, "Arr!" And then one guy goes inside of the whale and has sex with it. And then there's a flying alligator.
Greg, are you sure you downloaded the correct movie there and you didn't download?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And then I watched this other movie.
Do.
Hang on, I watched this other movie and it was called Plane, and it was fucking dumb. There was literally a scene where there's like a criminal on board of the airplane, and he's in handcuffs, and they let him out of handcuffs, and he like kind of saves the day. But at the end of the movie, there's like a bag of money, right? And when he takes the bag of money, he literally goes like this, and then fucking sneaks off with it. Like, I mean, what the fuck did this guy go to acting school? Like, he should have just grabbed it, went all right, and then like fucking left with the money, and rode off into the sunset or whatever. Sally's gonna get spayed on the 24th. So she gets her lady parts taken out. What else? I'm just going through all the shit that I had to go through, and then you guys can tell us about. I just had balloon jokes here. Oh, I already did that. I saved $50 off my cable today on TELUS. I switched to TELUS from Rogers. It goes into effect on February 16th, I think, 17th.
Nice. All right.
The Last of Us is pretty good. Have you guys been watching any of that?
I have not watched Last of Us yet. All right. But Eve news.
No, I haven't been able to.
Eve news.
It's only 8 minutes past the hour, sir.
Sir, it's been 10 minutes, first of all, and you've been rambling.
Mifune?
What have I been doing? I've been working. I've been
had a date
working.
last week, and
I did.
For that.
Oh yeah, how did that go?
All right,
Mifune,
Eve
how did your
news.
date go?
Good. We can talk about it later. People want the fucking Eve news. Jesus Christ. And I thought I was the one with ADHD while I'm sitting here with my goddamn fidget spinners. Like, oh my god.
All right, Eve news.
All right.
With that stuff during the show, Mifune.
I will. Eve news. We actually got an Eve blog on a Thursday. Which is very ironic because through our entire show's history, they always bring out the Eve news on a Friday afternoon, and we're like, shit. And we're like, shit, we gotta wait a whole fucking week till we can talk about shit, whatever. But they actually released some news on Thursday. So, this is actually a lore dump. And I know a lot of people didn't read this because it's a lore dump. A lot of people didn't understand it because it's a lore dump. But here's the fun thing is that CCP has actually for a while now, since the Faction Warfare campaign update came out last year, they've been using the lore to hint at future changes. Right? So the
mean like actually having some thought and like slowly bringing things out and try to engage people with the rest of their fucking game?
Yeah.
Shocker. Who would have thought that might be an interesting, unique way of introducing and teasing your upcoming expansions?
We should like hold them accountable for the fucking $20 a month we give them, right?
Ugh, yeah.
All right.
I mean, what
So
else are they doing?
the big thing.
The big thing.
So the big thing
explain
here
what
is.
this is.
So basically, CCP talks about shipcaster technology and stellar transmuters with military HQs. So the big thing is the thing that they fucking talk about right off the bat, which is great. Which is basically the military HQs of the 4 major factions in faction warfare are coming up with this new technology that they call shipcaster technology.
What does that mean?
I'm about to explain that. So the thing is that lore-wise, it is something that got leaked off of the Caldari plans, since the Caldari State and the Edencom stuff. So basically, they go on to say that the Caldari program doesn't appear to have spoiled a lot of it. So this is the big thing, is that what we're about to go over is very, very vague, and most of the Reddit community that has been talking about this all day has come up with numerous and numerous theories about what this stuff means. But what exactly is it? Is that basically they assess with their progress that they are able to sufficiently and reliably take large assets such as spaceships, are able to project over very large areas, many, many light years, over the interstellar plane without any kind of regard for cynojammers or tackle modules or cyno dying, anything like that, right? That basically all of the kind of stuff that you would do to prevent an enemy fleet from taking a cyno jump, all of that is negated with these new with this whole brand new shipcaster technology stuff. So they've dubbed it as interstellar shipcasting. And then they kind of go into a little more about Edencom and the extreme response of the Triglavians while they are starting to build these things and whatnot. So this is kind of like the $1 million question that the EVE community has right now, about what does this all mean, and there's been a lot of theories, and I actually wanted to take us a trip down the shithole that is Reddit, and we're actually going to go through some of the top theories that people have come up with this thing that seemed the most plausible. So one of the first ones that seems very, very plausible is that people believe that this could be a way for nullsec and lowsec corporations and such to be able to jump from their home regions into factional warfare space without having to travel so far, or without jump clones and other things like that. So they compare it very much to the jumping straight into the action. It's a very plausible theory that this could tie right into that.
Oh, the jumping is
the
fucking
jumping.
great.
That's great. That's a good one. Yeah, the jumping, right? So that's a one theory that's floating around that a lot of people seem to be very, very plausible. So some people believe that this is going to just straight up allow the old days of travel where there was no space aids. You know, Titans could get halfway across the universe in minutes. That is another theory that is pretty plausible out there. The ability to build these as a player is a very big question that people are asking right now. Like, are we going to be able to build these ourselves? And
hold on, what they would
things?
do? Would they launch you from, let's say, from one region to another, or are you thinking across the whole galaxy, or just inter-region? Like, what are you thinking?
I mean, that's what I'm thinking, right? A lot of people get concerned at that, though, right? Because as you know, very many people point out, we really hope to God that this does not mean, hey, you can now jump 300 caps through a Sinojam system. Like, that is something that a lot of people are not hoping for. that it
That'd
does
be
not.
fucking great.
Another plausible theory, and this is kind of where I'm going with this, a little bit, is that somebody went ahead and shoved in the theory that this is going to be a lore event where it backfires tremendously. If you guys remember the Turner system and how Amar tried to build these stellar transmuters and then they failed, it blew up, and it had like major ramifications for the system of Turner. So people are thinking that, hey, maybe this test is going to go backwards as well, and then nerf force projection, throughout the game, so that antiplexes and stuff get nerfed. Who knows? So that's what that's what people are throwing out there. Those are the many plausible theories that people are throwing out there. It is very, very hard to determine which of these is going to be correct. It's going to be, kind of like a
Wait, how are you thinking
we
it's
have to
gonna
view
nerf
and
capital
see.
stuff?
We're not sure exactly what the like logistics of how it would nerf it, but it is like one of those back in the head theories of is the four empires gonna fuck it up again, and
Do you
then have some
remember?
sort of ramification for this kind of technology.
Do you remember when it was CCP Falcon before he got axed or left or whatever? He was talking about them wanting to make it so capitals couldn't move through LoSec, like jump through LoSec or take gates or something. It was one or both. And I'm wondering, what if they decided to do something like that, where it's like, oh, sorry, LoSec's fucked, you can't jump through it anymore.
I don't know. It's definitely going to be it's definitely going to be something, right? Whether for better or for worse, we all know that something is coming, in the sense of transporting capitals, transporting fleets, transporting the large size groups, right? So for better or worse, something is going to change in that aspect, and that's the important thing. And it's honestly really exciting and incredibly scary at the same time, because cautious optimism is there. We hope that whatever the change is, it's good, right? That it actually puts the game in a healthy direction. I hope it does. And it's even scarier the fact that if you look earlier on Reddit, good transition into the next topic for later down the line, the CSM summit, they released some notes, and the CSM talked a lot about projection within the game. Like they spent a really good chunk on that during their CSM summit. What should we be scared of? CCP fucking everything up and putting us back in a scarcity situation where everybody quits the game.
That'll never happen again, sir.
I
I have faith in CCP now that they're starting to actually be held accountable for the $20 a month that each one of us pays them. They should have to put like a roadmap forward, which they are starting to do, right? So I think
I mean,
they're
I
starting to
think
get it.
I think they
they're
are
starting to
very
get it,
much.
Mifune.
I think they are very much starting to head in that right direction, but there's still that post scarcity fear, if you will, that they could fuck it up. That there's a chance they could fuck it all up. But that
I mean, Rattati has been surprisingly quiet for the past past year.
I
He
think
learned, like, I'm just gonna stay back here and hide.
yeah, I mean, I think he got quiet after all the public scrutiny. I think it
No,
just
yeah, but
got to a point where he's just like, all right, I have to take the back seat on this.
well, he just kept saying things that you're like, really? Did you just say that? Did you tell your
Right.
customers, don't worry, go ahead and leave, don't worry, you'll be back? Like, that's not how this works.
Right. So some other weird lore
You're not
things.
Coca-Cola.
Basically, some other weird lore things that went on in the post is that Caldari forces actually attacked and Edencom, which is interesting considering if I am correct on this, Edencom is supposed to be the four major empires plus Concord in a police force, but apparently.
Wait, what do you mean Caldari shot Edencom? Wouldn't they be shooting their own people then?
Right, so that's the big question, is that the Caldari forces actually went and they seized Edencom property. So
I wouldn't be surprised if CCP forgot that Edencom wasn't a pirate faction.
Yeah, so apparently the Caldari forces went ahead and like FBI style knocked down the door and said, "Give me your shit, we're seizing it." Right?
You
So
find any classified documents?
uh who knows, because they actually, from what they stole the SCC interstellar technology, which for those of you who remember what that is, that all ties into the reserve banks for the ESS systems.
I'll have to get rid of that shit.
So who knows? It's a very big hint that they could be doing stuff with reserve banks in the near future, and stuff like that. So they did some of that stuff. Some other shady shit against Eden Comms. So then also the Amar Empire is starting to create the stellar transmuters. Yes, this is all tinfoil. I should very much stress that, broker. This is all this
Wait a
is
second,
all
Mifune, hang on.
tinfoil.
Hey,
Yeah.
let's back up just a little bit. So the Amar are harnessing the power of the blue suns, right?
Yes.
So does that mean that maybe we can get like fucking Trig style lasers on Amar ships?
These are the $1 million question things, right? These are the educated guess on tinfoil hatting, I should say, of what could come of this, right? Is that the empires are trying to build these stellar transmuters. They're trying to steal the Triglavian technology and do stuff with it. What they're trying to do with it, we have no idea yet, because they haven't been successful so far. Every time that the Amar Empire has tried to construct these stellar transmuters, it has failed miserably. There was a disaster in Turner with blowing up their ship. It's really up in the air lore wise. As far as what we can tell, it's still yet to be seen on what they plan to do with the technology if they have a breakthrough. So they did that stuff. They're basically saying that they've learned from their mistakes in Turner, and they are going out there and doing better. So the other thing is that somebody in faction warfare space could probably iterate this more than I can. But basically, the Minmatar people, the Amarian people are trying to push up their Warzone headquarters in certain areas. They're kind of like pushing deeper and deeper into the Warzone, and the lore politics doesn't like it. So that's what's been going on with today's lore update. And
Wait, what do you mean lore politics?
so the corporations of the Caldari state are kind of like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? you're holding our space for 2 days and suddenly calling it your headquarters, type of situation.
Oh, so like the NPC in-game lore people.
Yeah, not
Okay.
not like actual. Does player actions actually affect this? That's what I believe. I don't play faction warfare, and we haven't had one of the faction warfare people on here for a while. You know, it might be great to bring them on in a future episode and talk a little more about that kind of thing.
Ago, didn't we?
No, we had them when the expansion released back in November. But it's been a couple months, so it's great to follow that more. But I do believe it somewhat is being I think CCP is writing the lore based on what people are doing within factional warfare. Because if you look at the faction warfare maps, like the Minmatar people are both suffering and prosperating, right? And stuff like that. So who knows? Honestly. But yeah, that's kind of like the lore update. They go through a little bit more of the whole faction warfare lore, empires fighting each other and being pissed at each other for various reasons.
No one misses
like
Ashtarothi, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, he was he had a post today, or oh no, he put a YouTube video today.
I'm gonna go ahead.
It was a couple of days ago.
There's a couple other things here on the Reddit. I should have saved the posts, but I didn't.
Oh, I got something too. Hang on, something else.
Yeah, go ahead while I pull up these other posts here that we want to talk about today.
Greg, I think we should do that Sims thing since you can get it for free too, and we can just like
maybe
have
hang
fun.
on.
Hang on to what?
Oh, no, hang on. Like, we're not going to do it right now, are we?
No.
All right.
No,
No.
but we can plan it.
All right, so I got a link here. And, all right, sorry, I'm really bad at copy and paste and shit. That's our good friend Ben Rush. He's got a YouTube show, and it's called The Beaver Show, and it's bilingual. And but if you're thinking that I'm fucking saying that's some sort of dirty thing, it only means like it's in 2 languages, right? So it's in French and English. So you can go and check that show out. I watched a little bit of it today, and it's a fucking banger. So go click and hit subscribe on that YouTube link, please, and that'll help our friends from Soaring Advance, more particularly our good friend Ben Rush, who is coming on this show next week. You are watching Theta Thursday. Today is February 9th, 2023. It's fucking Thursday. It's probably Friday in Eve, and it's probably Friday for a lot of people that are watching. So happy God Jesus weekend. Yeah, let's go. Mifune, what's next?
All right, so the next thing is the CSM Summit recap and update. So Pando wrote this on Reddit after he got home from the CSM Summit, just to talk about what he could talk about, mention what he could not talk about, and just kind of how the CSM is feeling after CSM 17's first summit. So we got a couple of things that Pando mentioned. One of the first things he did was the travel and accommodations. This wasn't a big thing to the general EVE populace, but honestly, I think it was a while ago. Some CSM member his NDA expired, and he decided to accuse CCP of doing like terrible organization with accommodations and travel and such.
Zenuria?
I believe so.
Jesus,
Can't remember.
fuck, I thought I heard
but
the last of his name.
yeah, right. But Pando went ahead and just kind of talked about that a little bit, saying that CCP.
Mifune, check. Dave Archer, what's up, bud?
What's up, Dave? So apparently CCP did, they paid and organized everything. So that's like great for the CSM. Everything was fine according to travel and whatnot. Okay, so here we get to the actual CSM stuff. Does CSM get free travel in a hotel? Yes, they actually do. So they literally don't pay a dime to travel to Iceland for these summits. It's great.
Well, they pay for food and stuff.
They pay for food and stuff too, but like, come on, compared to like what, the couple $1,000 plane ticket and the
Flying to Iceland's not that expensive. It's like 800
dude.
bucks.
The last time I checked, they were almost charging like $3,000 for a fucking ticket to go to FanFest.
Are you like sitting on a gold-plated seat, dumbass?
No, that was for the fucking Frontier flight.
No, guarantee not.
So anyway, basically the generalized summary of the CSM summit was that the summit a success in Pando's eyes. They were definitely a success this time around. He goes on to basically comment that the CSM summits are they have to do a lot with talking about the game, but it's also about building trust between the current CSM and CCP during this like first summit. And it's a lot less sugarcoating and careful words and more kind of like brutal honesty to establish that trust between the CSM and everything, which is a great thing to do. And the great thing is that he goes on that meeting the devs in person is really, really great compared to, having virtual meetings with them, because the devs don't have to have that fear of exposing knowledge gaps that they have planned. And they can just kind of like talk about it all in the open air, which is great.
By the way, Mifune, I was a little off. Sorry, it wasn't $800. It's about $900.
That's fair.
Hey, you know who would make a good CSM, Don? Mifune.
No.
Hey, he tried last time and he wasn't the lowest, so he has that going for him.
I mean, he beat fucking Redline, but then again, I think if I fucking put a suit and tie and a rock, it'd fucking beat Redline. Anyways, Mifune, you're gonna run this year, right?
Yet to be seen. So anyway, basically Panda goes on to say, more of a generalization that the how is the CSM feeling about Eve after the summit, and they believe that it's in a good place. They're doing stuff, they're going in that right direction. Everything seems pretty good. Um, but there will be new problems and other challenges by the times the current ones are solved, which is obviously a thing. All right, so on to their meeting notes. Onto the meeting notes with what they actually talked about. So one of the first things the CSM talked about was Eve leadership. Basically, my understanding is that this section had to deal with things like corporation ACLs and like how the in-game administration is compared to having to use third-party tools.
Speaking of that, just for a second, didn't they fuck up the ACL by like screwing
The
around
ESI.
with
They messed with the ESI, and I can talk a little bit about that. I have a little bit of experience with that, but there are people far more experienced than I am. But I can definitely say that when it comes to the ESI, in my personal opinion, I think that the CCP is going to get rid of the ESI or kind of phase it out. Most of the reasons that the ESI is fucked up is not necessarily due to CCP's fault. It's due to a design flaw within the ESI. It's my understanding that you can only call to the ESI a certain amount of times within a certain time limit before before the ESI is like, yo, am I under a DDoS attack or what? And then it just shuts down due to security. Right, and that's what I believe is the problem, but I'm not entirely sure on that. Don't take that with a grain of salt. I'm not a fucking expert.
We too. Listen, I wouldn't that fuck up a lot of third-party software if they did away with the ESI?
Well, here's the thing: is
like
that
all the
my
third-party software?
if you want my personal opinion on that, I think they're gonna tie it into the Eve Excel, which is another news point that we're gonna hit later down the line.
That's right.
I think that they are going to move it to where corporation applications or like Goonswarm, for example. Goonswarm is a big example. When you join a Goonswarm corporation, you give up access to all of your character info. And I think a lot of that vetting process is going to be done through the Excel spreadsheets rather than through third-party means. But that's just my...
Right? I got an email and it said, hey, do you want to test fucking the Microsoft Excel thing? And I laughed because like I don't know how to use the fucking
No, but that's just my little tinfoil hat Mifune moment there, what I think is going to happen. But overall, they talked about Eve leadership and the in-game structure and all of that kind of stuff. The next thing they talked about was the CSM program evolution. This one was, in my opinion, a little weird. CCP basically came to the CSM and was like, hey, how do you guys feel about the voting process? How do you feel about how we choose the CSM, how we treat the CSM, all that kind of stuff? And Pando basically thinks it was kind of like one of those topics that didn't really need to be talked about, that the CSM was fine and everything like that. So the next thing they talked about was quality of life and little things, where basically it was just kind of a big off circle of rant about the tiny things where you just kind of get stuff off your chest, like, holy shit, why the fuck do we not have this kind of stuff in Eve already?
Do you have OBS open right now?
Yes, why?
Can you drag that fucking window, the corner of that window, and make it like big? I don't even care if you cover me.
Sure.
Because I don't think anybody can read it.
I know we gotta get a bigger TV for the bar. We're working on it.
Like, Dawn should look at. Here's what to do. On like right under Theta Thursday there, put a pole on the bar and then stand Dawn next to the fucking pole. All right, everybody agree with that? X in chat if you think that's a good idea to have Dawn on the bar working the pole. And put an X in Twitch chat.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But I want to be behind the bar, so it's like I'm serving.
Yeah, Dawn's on the fucking working the pole.
Gotten there yet.
It's good exercise. My friend does it.
Anyway.
She goes to a place in Toronto.
Anyway, so the thing is that they talked about quality of life things and stuff like that. The next topic they talked about is definitely an interesting one. They had a meeting with team security. Pando calls it the highlight of the summit. The security team seems very, very passionate about what they're doing, and they kind of showed off to the CSM some of the tools and some of the general idea of what they plan to do in the future.
Oh, it's the
For
computer security people, and not the people that prevent like Hilmar from getting his ass kicked at the fucking Eve meets.
no, it's people that prevent botters and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I thought of something else.
So
Sorry.
Pando says that if you're a botter, the future doesn't look too bright. I mean, like, look, I've got my own opinions. I could go on my whole rant about botting in EVE Online and what.
You do that, don't you? Don't you work like as an anti-cheat
Yes.
kind of something thing?
Yeah. So I used to develop that kind of stuff for fun when I was still in high school and working in a
So
bar.
do you think CCP is doing a good job?
I
then?
think CCP is they're behind the times. What they're doing right now, because I've had my own talks with team security about things. I've approached them about certain topics, and they seem, I would say, they're in the right direction. They're just a little behind the know-how. Back in the early 2000s, if anybody here played Battlefield, Battlefield used to have a anti-cheat called Fair Fight, where it was basically an AI would watch people play the game and basically be like, oh hey, you got 200 kills and it's your first hour of ever playing Battlefield. That's definitely cheating, and so it would ban you. And COD is not Eve. I know. It's just I comparisons, my ADHD brain, that's how it works. I associate things with other things.
I'm following you, bud.
So that's kind of the direction of my understanding of where CCP is going. They have SQL databases and stuff that study player activity, and it's like, oh yeah, you're running abyssals for 17 hours a day, 24/7 for like the past month. That's like unhumane. That nobody fucking does that unless you're a no life, right? So it's like very much almost a botter at that point, and so then they start investigating it. So they're definitely in the right direction. I just think they're a little behind the times. Nowadays you have things like easy anti-cheat that prevent memory injections and do HWID bans and stuff like that. Who knows? But I think they're on the right track for what they want to do.
There are some people that like run, like do things for 17 hours straight.
Oh no,
Like the other day,
you're right,
the other
but
day on my stream, I streamed Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord.
it's
On twitch.tv/hasdude. I streamed that for like 12 hours straight.
it's very
No
much
problem.
it's very much a certain criteria that team security obviously won't release to the public, but that's kind of the basic idea, right? Is that you have this database watching people do stuff, and if they break a certain threshold. The next thing that the CSM talked about was ship balance. They basically had a massive brainstorm section with around 8 or so topics. But they got to topic number 3 before they ran out of time. And like that is how heavy they focused on ship balancing and stuff like that. So it's interesting. They won't expand more on that because of NDA, but it's interesting. So sovereign resources, this is a big one, right? So a lot of people for ages have been talking about, how we need to revamp the SOV system and stuff like that. And I think it's a very interesting fact that instead of talking about changing Fozzie SOV and changing the mechanics of taking SOV from somebody else, they actually spent the majority of this time talking about what you get out of space, which is a very good thing. When I read this for the first time, like I had the big happy face fucking smile on, like I just got the best present from Santa Claus ever, right?
Or laid.
Or that, right? But it's great because that means that CCP is talking about what space means. Why should I own space? Right? That's what they were talking about, and that's good because that's what we need, right?
I think under the Charter of the United Nations of the planet Earth, I don't think anybody's allowed to own space. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I think that space is unownable. So I don't think for example, a country like Canada could fly to Mars right now and put the Canadian flag down and say, I'm claiming Mars for Canada. Go fuck yourself, you fucking hosers. I don't know. Can that happen, Don? Do you think?
What? You going to Mars?
Where? What?
Don't you have to at
Oh.
least try to go to the moon first?
No.
Yeah, I believe that Canada's never been to the
No.
moon.
Our feet were the first feet on the moon because the lunar lander's feet were designed by a Canadian. I'm sorry, Don, but we
But
were
was
there
it built
first.
by a Canadian?
It was designed by a Canadian, Don.
No, that's got to be
Well,
real.
all right. So we have a question in chat. Lothar wants to ask, do I think that CCP is revamping Eve for reduced pilot numbers? So here's the thing. I think that the PCU is in an okay spot compared to what the Eve community thinks it is, right? We're roughly on a solid weekend. We're sitting at roughly 24 to 28,000 players at peak times. And that is honestly the exact player numbers you had back in like 2008, 2009, and the game was fine back then. So I don't necessarily think that it is something that we need to be as worried about as we were. I think the BRM changes when they adjusted the BRM and they introduced crab beacons and they came out the faction warfare update. I think that it has really bolstered the player numbers back to a semi okay amount. Do I ever think that we will get back to the 35,000-40,000 player base? A good possibility. I think there could be a possibility as CCP continues in that right direction. I think we could see player numbers climb. I don't think we're necessarily going to see the oh my god, we're at 8,000 players, the market's crashing. I don't think we're gonna reach that level anytime soon. Whereas a couple of months ago, that was a legitimate fear.
That's a real good question, though, Lothar. Thanks for asking that.
Yeah, I
Could
appreciate
you
it.
whisper me your name in Twitch chat, and I'll send you a fucking skin or something.
Yeah. So uh the next thing they talked about at the CSM summit was projection, and this was a big topic for the CSM this year. Was projection, as we already talked about with the lore events and stuff. Projection seems to be priority numero uno for CCP right now on the discussion board. And Pando even mentions that it is such a big topic and such a heated topic that it actually came up in the bar when they were just out there having fun with CCP, and they, ended up just landing on the conversation of projection. Like, it seems to be one of those things where the CSM's biggest gripe is with projection. The next thing they talked about was campaigns, events, and the narrative, all the high sec stuff and the new player experience. It seems to be okay. Pando doesn't do that kind of stuff often, and he referenced Arzia for what she thinks CCP is on that track for.
I like Pando as a CSM. He's a good fit.
He is. They talked about some redacted things. Cross the line out. They ain't gonna mention shit.
Hey Mifune, I really like your shirt, man. Where'd you get it?
I actually got this shirt from Target. Nice shirt, I know. So the next thing they talked about was monetization. So the CSM got to look into monetization practices, the financial numbers, how they have to appeal to the gods of Pearl Abyss and stuff like that. The next thing they talked about was heraldry, which is the ability to put your alliance logos and stuff on your ship. So there's tons of stuff that CCP wants to do with the heraldry, possibly like new rewards and stuff other than just having, your Goon Swarm Fat Bee on your Ferox and stuff. But it's going to be a step-by-step process, stuff like that. The next public thing they talked about was player research. All of the stuff with statistics like player counts and stuff like that. The next big thing they talked about was wormholes in Poshfin. So they spent a lot of time talking about Poshfin and all of that fun stuff. The next thing they did was talk about the Excel thing that's coming up soon. Pando thinks it's underrated, and this is kind of where I have my tinfoil that I kind of mentioned earlier. Is that he thinks that the Excel integration will lower the entry bar for small scale and industry players all the way to small group management. So I think, honest to God, that Excel is going to address the issue of needing an IT professional in in a group in Eve, right? Whether that be from a corp level to a big alliance like Goonswarm. I honest to God think that the vetting process and the oh my god, are you a spy process, I think a lot of that is going to be handled by the Excel integration, and it's going to be made a lot easier so that all the IT people can take a fucking deep breath from having to do shit all day with Eve. Then they talked about ESI stuff. Panda struggled to stay awake. I don't blame you. IT work isn't for everybody. Then they talked about Photon UI, and they talked about the UX team and all of the new Photon UI stuff. They took the CSM's feedback very, very seriously. They want to make Photon UI good, and that is just because the thing is that EVE Online has gone through many, many UI changes, and throughout all of those UI changes, you are seeing at every step of the way, players of all ages are like, oh, this new UI is trash. The old UI was better. What's the current UI's name? Does anybody know? I can't even fucking remember. Before Photon, the one previous to Photon, whatever the fuck it was called, I can't remember. The one that we've all dealt with for the past 10 years. When that first came out, people were like, no, bring back the old 2003 UI. Like, this UI is so trash. And now we're looking at 10 years down the line, and everyone's like, no, this Photon shit's crap. Let's go back to the shit it was for the past 10 years. So, like, I really think that it's going to be a thing where CCP is like, we want to make you as the player base happy while also introducing new UI stuff that will help us on the back end. So I think it's quite an interesting conversation to have. And the final topic that they talked about was basically a ask me anything with all of the CCP devs and people that work with CCP. But it seems like that one of the biggest comments that I take away from this portion of Pando's notes is that the upper leadership of CCP for the past little while has been detached from the game and its gameplay, but they seem to be kind of letting up, and I think this goes along with Don's comment of Rattati kind of like stepping out of the public spotlight, that they're just kind of like they're taking Aurora's word for it. They're taking Swift's word for it that, hey, we have played this game forever. We know what we're doing. Let us do our thing. And so I think that's kind of what it is at this point, is that Hilmar and Rattati and everybody are kind of taking a step back and giving the devs that know what they're talking about a chance to prove that. So I really think that's what's going on. That's just my tinfoil takeaway from that. But it seems like it's a good thing. So yeah, that is kind of the CSM summit in a wrap up. It's a lot of stuff to cover, and I'm glad they covered a lot of it, because it just seems like such a great thing. It seems like it was a really good CSM summit.
By the way, chat, I apologize. I just was looking over and saw somebody was being bad, so they have been removed. If people see somebody being bad, just PM me, because I'm not always looking at the screen sometimes if I have to walk around while Mifune's ranting forever.
Yes.
So.
Well, I'm ranting about stuff because you people don't know how to read up on the current events. So what do you guys think?
It says you. Listen, I know more about what's going on most of the time. I just don't give a shit about the lore stuff. I'm like, all right, is there pretty like stuff happening or new things for me yet? No, okay. But that, if someone breaks it down simple, I'll listen to it. But I'm not gonna chase it around. But let's see. Yeah, I'm just looking at the Eve leadership thing you've got up. I don't really know who's supposed to be kind of like the face right now of CCP. Is Greg talking? Am I deaf?
No.
All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right.
Like,
Thank you
sure.
very much, ma'am. I will. Yeah, yeah, for sure. You too. Take
Greg.
care now.
Great.
God damn it.
All right. No, I was my new cable service from Telus came through there. And I'm
Alright,
sorry,
so-
but I had to take that call.
That's
So
fine, but you were just like, blah, 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 blah. So, does anyone know who's supposed to be the front of CCB right now?
I think it's kind of Swift. Like, honestly, I think that's where
I
where
hope
it's
so. I
heading.
like him. He's a good guy.
Elise, who's tried to kill goons like 10 times?
Whatever.
Okay. Just saying.
I mean, Dawn, we got that fucking Jeremy Antler guy or whatever his fucking name is.
I know.
What the fuck?
I don't know who made that. He's been fine so far, so I will be encouraging and positive. But I question some choices sometimes. But that, you know what that means, Greg? We can have him on the show now.
Well, we could have him on the show before. Like, it doesn't matter, right?
He was kind of, he was
No,
like
we're
the
not
biggest shit talker on Trash Talk Tuesday, so.
Alright, well,
Yeah, I mean, like, really though, like, we're not affiliated. We're not affiliated with like the Imperium anymore, right?
before
We're
we
like wild fucking horses here, aren't we? Like,
Well-
we're like the last cowboys and the lone frontier.
And as we move closer towards the end of the show, I just want to give 2 quick call outs from Reddit this week. First of all is the call for a Plex for Good campaign for the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. And I think everybody should go and encourage CSP to do the Plex for Good for this. It would really help out a lot. I really think we should do a Plex for Good for it.
We haven't had a Plex for Good in a while.
I don't agree with you a lot, Mifune, but on this, I'm fucking 100% behind you.
Like,
let's
we
bang
need
their fucking doors down until we get something like that happening.
We need to do a Plex for Good. Please, for the love of God, everybody who is watching, go out there and beg CCP for this, because it needs to happen. It really does.
We got to before we do anything else, like after that, yeah, Plex for Good, definitely. And even if they're not going to do that, remember you can do, I think the Red Crescent over there or the Red Cross will get money over there to help those people out, because it's like fucking over 20,000 now, and the number's just going to keep going up. I want to give a quick shout out to our peeps in Theta, people that are there. We'll give a shout out to Blixicus, Red Branch, MCI Tech, Chainsaw, Grognard, Commissar, Dawn's here. Fuck, Ike Latoris. That's the guy's name, really. Ike Latoris. It's fucking hilarious. My good buddy Asix, who we've had a fucking heart-to-heart this week, man. Over last week, Ghost Jansing and Down doing whatever is Ghoster and Helper Tuna. You guys are what really make Theta tick. The people that are there every day. If you're in Goons and you don't come hang out in Theta Comms, I suggest that you come hang out with us, because we talk about some really neat stuff, and we're all cool people except for Dawn. She gets bitchy sometimes.
All right, so one of the final little shout outs I want to give is a brand new third-party Eve tool, which I think a lot of people kind of overlooked this week, but it seems to be very, very good. It is an Eve settings manager. The tool's goal is to basically manage, copy, and save/backup all of your local Eve settings. So things from your chats to your overviews to which monitor is tailored to which account to launch groups. Yes, it works. I've tested it myself and it works. It seems to be a really cool thing. So it caches a bunch of stuff, so it doesn't need to fetch stuff from the API all the time. It can overwrite settings per client. It can create a backup. It can add notes to your settings. It supports all Eve servers, and it's supported in English and Chinese. And it is one of those things that I think is really, really good. I'm definitely keeping this offhand for if I ever have to re-image my machine or go and or go and create a new account, and I don't got to worry about setting up the overview and stuff like that. So it seems like a really, really interesting tool, and I just wanted to give it a shout out. Thank you to the developer. It has a GitHub. It seems like just a really interesting tool.
Yeah, that does sound really neat. I'm gonna have to check that out. Why didn't you tell me about that before the show?
Because you didn't ask about it. But
Alright.
that's pretty much
no,
it
there's
for
some
all
really,
of the Eve news. It was a lot.
No, wait a second. We got more, don't we? No, we don't. Sorry. Okay.
Are we final thoughting it?
Yeah, I think it's about time for final thoughts after my
All right.
large ass rant on all the Eve news this week.
Sometimes we just need those kinds of weeks. And also, reminder, check us out on Saturdays for Push to Talk, where you'll hear me for about 20 minutes wanting to talk about Eve, spending 10 minutes to talk about Eve, and then listening to the rest of them all talk about whatever the fuck they want. And then I'm gone for the next hour. So
Yeah, you got very important space meetings, don't you, now on Saturdays?
do.
Eh? Yeah,
I
Dawn's
do.
a
They're
bit of a
very
big deal.
important, very much info. I
Oh
gotta
yeah,
say,
hey. I wanted to put something up. Sundering is recruiting. We're F3AR. That's our ticker. Fear, right? In game, and we have. If you know anybody that is looking for a Chinese speaking corporation in Eve, we have one of our new recruiters is as a native Chinese speaking person who is bilingual. That means 2 languages. It doesn't mean guys and girls. Jesus, you dirty bastard. But no, really, that's actually true. So Sunring is recruiting. Come and hang out, and we can facilitate a bunch of different languages now. Also, our CEO he speaks like a little bit of Spanish and such. I might as well do my final thoughts, right? Also, I'm streaming on a daily basis. I'm twitch.tv/Hazitude. That's HAZATUDE. Go and check my channel. I do like kind of a variety of shit. Stream some games and do some like general just chat, just me hanging around shooting shit, and we have fun, right? Like it's on a daily basis. I will. Also, what we'll do is we're going to try to do a raid. I think we can do it now. After this is done, we're going to raid.
Can we
Rampage
do a
Inc.,
raid
which
now?
is, yeah, well, we can, but we want to do our final thoughts.
No, I thought we didn't have access to the command. Do we?
I think I do.
Oh,
I think I do. Maybe not.
what do you
Anyways,
mean read? We can't read shit.
Mifune, what's your final fucking thoughts?
my final thought is the Super Bowl is this Sunday. Go Eagles.
Who's playing?
The
That's my dad's
Eagles,
birthday.
Eagles and the Chiefs.
Eagles and the Chiefs,
Is
and
that Patrick Mifune? That's
Patrick Mahomes. Yes.
Oh, I thought it
So
was
two
Patrick
teams that
Mifune.
I don't care about at all. Got it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
The
whoa,
Chiefs
whoa,
are
whoa.
my friend's favorite team.
That's nice. He can
Whoa.
enjoy shitty teams.
I played Asheron's Call with her. She really likes the Chiefs.
She can enjoy the Chiefs. So, it's my dad's birthday this weekend too. So,
Oh, happy birthday, Mr. Rhea! Thank you for giving us such a lovely daughter, and
Eagles.
such a good friend. Who cares?
Eagles are gonna win.
Eagles? No, they're not.
Eagles are
You wanna
gonna
put
win it
some
all.
risk on this, Mifune?
Eagles are gonna win it all. I'll put 200 mil down for the Eagles winning.
200 mil.
No,
You and I
I'm
friendly
fucking
bet.
cheap.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
All
200
right,
mil
it's
for the
done.
Eagles.
Somebody
Where's
witnessed
the
that.
billions?
All right, my other final thought is that my birthday is also on Monday. Watch out for tomorrow night. We're probably going to be doing a bit of a drunk rum to celebrate tomorrow night.
Why would you
As you
waste
should.
No, you shouldn't, buddy. You
Shut up,
should
Greg.
remember your birthdays.
birthday's
No,
on Monday. He's pre-gaming. It's
I'm
fine.
pre-gaming. My birthday's on
Just
Monday.
Drink responsibly, son.
Absolutely. But that's my final thoughts, so stay tuned to see us completely get hammered and roam on a
Maybe
Friday
I'll
night.
come and hang out with you tomorrow night. Dawn, take us home.
Thanks for coming. Everyone have a good week. If you have anything you want us to talk about, tell Greg because I don't care. And that's it. Have a good night, guys.
Alright, y'all, have a good night. I hope y'all enjoyed the show.
Be good if you can't be good, be careful.